What is going on, guys? So as you know, I have been doing Airbnb for around 6 months now, and in this video I want to share with you some of the tips and some of the things that I wish I knew. And you might be thinking, Daniel, that was so easy, why didn't you think of that ahead of time? Well, I simply didn't, because I was so busy trying to get my business up and running that I kind of skipped over these things. Tip number one, the first tip that I can give you is have a handyman, electrician, plumber on speed dial. The reason I say this is when things do happen, and they will happen, unfortunately, hopefully nothing bad ever happens to you, but they have happened to me, a couple things that at the moment I didn't think that I was gonna need, or like I said before, like I skipped over it because I was just so excited about getting my business up and running that I didn't think about this. But just to give you a quick example, something happened in one of my showers where I thought I could do the job. I tried to do the job myself, and the job ended up costing me around $550. Something that seemed simple, I wanted to do it myself. However, if I would have called the plumber ahead of time, it would have been a lot cheaper. And with that being said, if you do have their number, if you do have their contact info ahead of time, and you already build a relationship, then you might save yourself a couple $100 and you might get the job done quicker. Some of the things that I do recommend is, for example, going to a Facebook group. There's a lot of Airbnb groups locally. There's one here in Tampa, and a lot of people, they share who do they use for home cleaning services, who do they use for plumber, handyman, etc. You can start building that relationship, and if you like, you can shoot them a message like, hey, let's say a door breaks down, like how much will you charge me, or how much would it be? So you can kind of have a price in mind before things do happen. Like I said, hopefully nothing ever happens, nothing bad. But for me, a couple things have had happened, and I wish I had this information ahead of time. Something else I do want to say is I've been fortunate enough where a couple of my friends, they have been hosting and doing Airbnb for quite some time. So I can just call one of them like, hey, who do you have for this, or who do you have for that? And they give me that information, and it's people that they already trust. But if you have no one like that in your circle, then I kind of recommend that you do this. That way you already have people on speed dial, people you can trust, people who are budget friendly, and people who are gonna get the job done. The second tip that I can give you is have multiple keys to the rooms. I cannot stress this enough. It has happened a couple times to me where the guests will call me like, hey, I don't have the keys to the room. Like, what do I do now? Like, I left them inside the room, and one of the guests, they had to climb through the window. It was a little bit of a nightmare, but it turned out working out well. But if I would have had the copies to the room, it would have been fine. So I highly recommend. Guys, it takes like 20 minutes, if that. I don't know how far your Home Depot is, but it takes maybe 5 minutes over there for them to give you multiple keys to as many copies as you need. And it will save you a lot of headaches. So get copies of the keys to your rooms. The third tip that I can give you is have automated messages. I cannot express how much time this is going to save you. One of my friends passed this information on to me, and I've been using this, and I believe the first week that I started hosting, and it saved you so much time. I have automatic messages that they send in between 15 minutes of the reservation with the code to the door, the address, some information, Wi-Fi, and stuff where the guests can already have basic information to come inside the house and make themselves comfortable. And this saves you so much time, because think about it, if every time you have a reservation, you have to type out all the information, or you're copying and pasting it from your notes. And sometimes, for example, like me, I have a full-time job. It can get hectic with work, other side hustles that I have, and replying to the guests, where it has happened where the guests show up where they have the information, or they've been repeat guests, or something happened with the lock where they don't have the old code. There's by the door, hey Daniel, like, where's the information? So again, having these automatic messages sent in before they check in, after they check out, kind of like for asking them to give you a review, it'll save you so much time. It'll make the experience a lot smoother, and it's automated, which is kind of like the point where we want to take our Airbnb business, where it's mostly like hands off. We're doing as little as we need to. At the end of the day, you want to save as much time as possible. And if these little things can save you time, make the guest experience better, that's what we all want to become super hosts, and that's what we all want to keep going to that next level. The fourth tip that I can give you is have a bring, I don't know what kind of doorbell camera you want to use, or a security camera, but I think this is so important, because you know who's coming out, you know who's coming in. And for me, the best way that I use this is, for example, knowing when the guest is checking in and knowing when the guest is checking out. When I want to flip the rooms, I want to make sure that there's no guest in the room. I don't want to go open the door and find the guest there. So I think it's super important. It makes a lot of sense to have any type of doorbell that you can just see from your phone that, okay, so this guest he has checked out, so the room is clean now, I can send someone to clean it, I can go clean it, or whatever the case is. But having some type of knowing when, because a lot of guests don't let you know, like, hey, I've checked in, or hey, I've checked out. Some of them do, but not all of them. I think I've only had like maybe 2 or 3 guests that have actually let me know, like, hey, I just checked into your place and I just checked out. So it's when you have a doorbell camera, it makes your life a lot easier, I believe. So if you don't have one, make sure you add one. Fifth and last tip that I have for you is play around with the pricing. I know a lot of people use AirDNA. By myself, I used to go on Airbnb and just look at the homes around to get a feel for, okay, this homes around me with kind of like the same features that I have are renting for XYZ. And that kind of helped me have a base price of what I want to get for my home. And yes, I do let Airbnb handle it, but there's some days, for example, last week of like the first week of January, I wasn't getting that many bookings. So what I did, I just set a constant price for the whole week and I gave a percentage. So Airbnb wanted me to charge higher. However, I noticed the bookings weren't coming through, so I just lower it myself. So you always want to play around with the pricing. You don't want to leave it all to Airbnb and their algorithm to decide how much you should get for your room. Again, that's just something that I do and that I recommend, and it has worked for me. So if you do it, if you try it out, let me know in the comments below and let me know what the results were. All right, guys, that is it. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you liked it. If you did, give me a thumbs up, give me a comment below, and I'll see you on the next one.